if they saw him.
Was the whole 50s thing an albatross around your neck that you just kind of like wanted to ignore later in the?
I want it from the very beginning. I was saying to the network, to the producers, look, this 50s thing, it's a mistake. I know I created it. I'm sorry, everybody. I made a formal apology. I'm sorry I came up with this idea. I was making a mistake. I was sleepy.
You couldn't do that whole Richie's Got Pac-Man Fever episode you wanted to do.
I thought I had an episode written. I wrote it myself in longhand on a legal pad. Where Mork from Ork, he brings a Pac-Man machine back in time to Al's Diner. Nobody went for it because
that was the pilot of Happy Days.
The Pac-Man, that's right. I was ahead of everybody. I had the whole thing strategized out. It turns out the Pac-Man people wouldn't allow us to license their image because of Fonzie and the motorcycle. Because I had him on the leather jacket near the motorcycle.
Midway's got an image to be concerned about.
Exactly. I don't blame them looking back. Of course, leather jackets and motorcycles are terrifying.
That's trouble.
Tom, I feel like I jumped in in the middle of your question.
I've always wanted to know why did Mork not time travel on Mork and Mindy?
Yeah.
If he had the ability to time travel back to the 50s, why was that? Did he lose the ability to travel through time?
He gave that ability to Marty McFly.
Oh, so he left that, but that would be 10 years later. So he was so he went into the 80s and said, kick me back to the 70s. I'm going to stay there forever.
Wait, but he was in the 80s, wasn't he? Wasn't Mork, he was 19...
He was in the present day. That show took place in the 80s, which was the present day at the time, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, all your theories are correct.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You guys guessed it right on the nose.
And what happened to that lost 20 years? He was not stuck in the 50s. Until Mork and Mindy start, he's not like a Highlander. Mork is not a Highlander, is he?
Who doesn't age and just interesting.
I think what happened was, if I had to guess,
he ages backwards. We know that.
Yeah. He fell asleep in that egg. That was his spaceship.
I forgot about the egg.
Yeah, he fell asleep in there. It's very, it's like a sensory deprivation thing. You know, he's in there, and it's very comfortable, and it's very dark, and he's listening to some ambient nature sounds, and he fell asleep.
I have a question.
For 3 decades.
When you were titling Mork and Mindy, because he came from an egg, did you ever think the title should be Yolk from Egg?
Of course I did. Are you kidding me? Okay. I had a blue card on my bulletin board, Yolk from Egg. Everybody that came into my office said, what's that? I said, it's the title of my new show, the spin-off of Happy Days involving a space alien who's in the 80s. And everybody said, why is it called Yolk from Egg? I said, I gotta walk you through this. Look, his spaceship, it looks like an egg. He's inside the egg. He would be the yolk in the egg. This is what we're going to call it, and everybody will address him as Yolk from Egg.
All right, I always wanted to know.
I thought it was going to be a Japanese show, is why.
Oh, okay, good. Al, you have a question?
That titles are very literal.
When it was Yolk from Egg, was the catchphrase Nanu Nanu, or was it like Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, or was it more something egg-themed?
He would just say Yolk from Egg whenever anything good or bad happened. It depended on his inflection.
What about something he had no opinion on?
He would just mouth it.
Okay, great.
That ended up being confusing. We actually shot a pilot, Yolk from Egg, and that was a big problem. It's like sometimes they would say, hey, how come you cut away to the lead character, Yolk from Egg, and he's just mouthing something? It's going to cause audio issues. People are going to be writing letters. They wrote letters in those days when they weren't happy about stuff on television. Hey, I saw...
I'm not so happy about these Happy Days.
That's right. Well, we had a black guy on once, and they were like, this is not the Happy Days I signed on for. I support those kids who wouldn't let go to the party because the parents didn't like black people. It was a different time, Scott and Tom and Al.
Any questions about his film career? Pretty Woman, was that? I heard the title.
I directed other movies, by the way, not just Pretty Woman.
We can
and
talk about
Valentine's
Runaway
Day.
Bride at some point, but
is that one of mine?
Sure, and Frankie and Johnny. But was that a truck? Yeah, it was a big truck. Shh, truck. Okay. About Pretty Woman, I heard the original title was $300, which is what she's paid have filthy sex with Richard Gere.
Whatever he wants to do, she has to do it.
Anything.
Except the kissing, of course, because it's the prostitute's code.
I've never seen that movie. Do they kiss like at the end? Is that like a big like?
I think so. I think it's a big deal when that happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's been a while. Forgive me.
So $300.
And of course, I can't bear to watch myself having directed stuff on screen.
Okay.
Like you can't listen to your horrible voices.
Yeah.
For me, it's the same thing.
You can't watch EPK of you actually directing.
I can't watch actors walking around and doing things that I told them to do. I'm like, I made him walk over there and pick up that glass.
Yeah. Gary, something I was curious about. Were you ever tempted to have a Pretty Woman set in the 50s?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great
Al,
question.
that is a great question. There was a time where I was pitching that to everybody. I was saying, let's do this, but set in the 50s. I get the script, Pretty Woman. I said, it's pretty good, but could it be in the 50s? Mm-hmm. I have a bunch of old wigs and dresses from the 50s. Can we use them? They said, we want to go to a more modern audience, And I said, no. I'm not trying to say, can we get people from the 50s to see the movie? I'm saying, can we set the movie in the 50s?
Well, that must be a common kind of misconception about that you have
when
to
you
take
hear the
people
50s,
through.
people assume they mean from the decade,
or
the
people
50s,
who are in their
people
50s,
who are in their 50s, or they mean 50 people.
Why are you not shouting anymore?
What? Sometimes I run out of steam, and I need to power down so I can gather energy, so I can go back and start shouting again.
All right, how much energy do you have now?
I am back on top. Here we go, full tank.
Tom, question?
Yeah, you directed Dear God with Greg Kinnear.
I think I did.
Yeah, what was it like seeing him like in his ascendancy like that?
Everybody knows this. Greg Kinnear started out on the Talk Soup, and then he did a talk show on NBC called Later. He took over for Bob Costas. Then he got bored with doing that, and then he made some movies. And this one, Dear God, is about people write letters to God. And then this mailman, I think, he decides he's going to answer these letters. Somebody decides that, I don't know. And then he's either a guy who is really optimistic, or he's a guy who's very cynical. I can't remember. He might be.
I think he started off cynical.
Starts off cynical, then he ends up being the opposite of cynical.
Does it feel like that one got away from you?
I'll be honest with you. I wasn't really paying much attention on that set. This was around the time that I was way into crosswords. I was doing a lot of crosswords, and I was buying those. I was buying those books. The books of them. I wasn't.
When they make the biopic of your life, that's going to be like late second act when like everything looks so terrible. Like when. You have
it's all going to be black and white, like the black and white of the crosswords, like not shot in black and white, but everything that you see will be black and white.
Just the set design is all black and white, like the Jamiroquai video.
Who?
I would imagine.
What's that?
I don't know.
Did you say a magic word?
I'm trying to turn into Captain Marvel.
Is that the movie with Robin Williams, where they go into the board game?
Did you direct that one?
I don't think so. But if you want to look it up, be my guest. But I don't think that was one of mine.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me the privilege of going on
Wikipedia. Of
Wikipedia.
Look, it's a free country. You do what you like.
Mm-hmm. Are you glad it's a free country?
I'm mostly glad it's a free country. There's some stuff I'm not quite in favor of. I don't think that it should be up to only the prison system to execute prisoners. I think we should all have that right.
Okay.
If somebody did something wrong, I think even Stevens, like, hey, I heard you murdered a guy, bang,
and then you shoot him.
Then you shoot him
after you say bang.
That seems logical.
Hey, what? Did you kidnap a child? I'm gonna hang you,
bang.
And then you shoot him. That's right. You got it.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be easier? Now we got this appeals process. We got the people on death row for 20, 25 years when we could be killing these people.
Too many checks and balances.
I wish there was 5 checks and 6 balances.
Right. All right, guys. Well, I think we have to go to a break, but
nobody's holding you up.
I think we covered your entire career, though.
I think so.
Okay, great. Well, let's go to a song. When we come back, we'll have more with Al Yankovic, more with Tom Scharpling, and, of course, more with Garry Marshall.
Yeah!
And this is another song by Al. This is The Life, Comedy Death Ray Radio.